Hello and welcome back to the garden sessions of the Blackford Book Club for a very exciting part 10 from my self-published book that I published in May of this year, entitled Chasing the Impossible and the Sword of Damocles. Without further ado, on page 456. Reds limp to a point at the Palace. Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. Watching the Reds' insipid and rather dreadful 0-0 draw this evening with Crystal Palace was my third game of football on a Saturday that culminated with a late evening into a long early Sunday morning of Test match cricket from New Zealand, so all in all I've had worse sporting days with the distraction of the bread and circus of life. I began with the early game and the battle at Goodison Park, with an eventually triumphant Aston Villa deservedly taking all 3 Premier League points from an Everton team destined once more to pray that another team will finish this season poorer than they. It's clear that, in footballing parlance, both Bournemouth and Southampton are gone for all money and destined for the dreaded drop into the Championship, and arguably the toughest league from which to escape back from in a positive direction. Aston Villa's Merseyside win season climbed to exactly mid-table with 31 points and a couple of further wins from assured safety, and with Leeds United defeating a doomed Southampton and West Ham thumping Nottingham Forest 4-0. The Blues of Everton are once more in the relegation zone and in a fight with 6 other teams to decide who joins the South Coast Saints and Cherries. My second game of the day saw those overachieving yet seemingly relegation-bound Cherries of Bournemouth take a fearful 4-1 pounding from defending champions Manchester City amid a masterclass of midfield mastery from old and young, ancient and modern, and German international Ilkay Gundogan and England under-18 starlet Rico Lewis. 14 years separate the grizzled bearded veteran and the frizzled mop-top of youth from Berry. Lewis, as you'll be unsurprised to hear considering he's playing for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, looks a damn fine player indeed, with time aplenty on the ball, a cool head for one so young, and not afraid to get down and dirty with a crucial tackle. Should the kid continue to hold down a regular place for the English champions, I can't see it taking too long for him to force a place in the older aged national under-21 team, if not the senior team. He just looks a Spanish type pivote type player, and with the luck and good grace to avoid injuries, will flourish and bloom under Guardiola. The cricket, what a treat. Tea, chocolate biscuits, and with the lights out and wrapped with a hot water bottle for company to beat away the coldness of a bitter winter's night, New Zealand, under the swashbuckling skills of their captain Tim Southee, crashed and banged their way back into a test match they were seemingly well and truly out of. Southee, a bowling all-rounder, batted his way to an astounding 73 runs in double quick time, thus ensuring his team had a fighting chance in a test match that, by the end of the day, though they were still behind an epoch-defining England team amid a cricketing revolution, are still competitive, with more than a mere puncher's chance, still very much in the game, with 2 days to play, and with a whole host of twists and cricketing turns still to come. I'm predicting a close-run England victory in the middle of the afternoon of the 5th and final day, perhaps by 4 or 5 wickets, but my predictions aren't worth the paper they're not written on, and I wouldn't believe a word I say. I certainly don't. The Liverpool game, I hear you cry? Bloody dreadful. The opening 15 minutes last evening at Selhurst Park was a mess of error-strewn chaotic mistakes amid an emptiness that rivaled the final 15 minutes whereby nothing of any noteworthy substance happened. The away end, strictly speaking the away side at Selhurst Park, urged on our heroes in silvery white, but there was very little coming in the way of inspirational football, from either team in all honesty. Crystal Palace seemed happy with a clean sheet and a point nearer safety. Liverpool just ran out of ideas. The woodwork and frame of both goals were hit 3 times, first by the sharper and fitter looking Diogo Jota from an impossible angle, the second by Jean-Philippe Mateta when he should have scored just before half-time, and then Mo Salah when he was unluckily denied by the underside of the crossbar seconds after half-time. From the 52nd minute onward, and the awarding of the game's first corner to Liverpool, I penned not a single further word of footballing note. This game was surely destined for the ignominy of the last game on Match of the Day. Instead, I mused that poor old Naby Keita shouldn't be anywhere near this Liverpool team, and that he is speaks volumes for the state of a team that were on the precipice of unparalleled, unbeatable glory just months ago. I'm mused too that if you squint your eyes really tightly together, you could almost visualise the red and blue of Crystal Palace being the ghosts of Barcelona, playing the ghostly all-whites of Real Madrid, those recent victors of 5-2 in a soon-to-be-forgotten footballing past of recent times. But this was no Saturday night classic from London, or from Spain's far foreign land either. I also calculated that, to the best of my failing memory and the record books stored in my tiny mind, I'd been to Selhurst Park 10 times in my football travelling days, but not for 2 decades, if you wanted to feel old, and not since a glorious April day in the year 2000 when I, and 26,101 other mostly Liverpool Reds, crammed inside this old South London stadium to bear witness to Emil Ivanhoe Heskey scoring a brace in a 2-1 win against Wimbledon. 10 times I've been to Selhurst Park and I've rarely watched the team I favour play the actual hosts, Crystal Palace. I went twice in my ragged youth days to see my hometown of Portsmouth get beaten at the fag end of a promotional season that this defeat ended the hopes of, but of the other 8 times I can only vouch for and recollect 3 games with Crystal Palace, 1 a triumph in the League Cup semi-final, but all of the remaining trips resulted in watching their ground-sharing neighbours from Wimbledon. And if you think things are dire now, my fellow Reds, how about a stale, cold, misty and boring 0-0 draw with a dreadful Wimbledon when all we could do was join in with the school children in the stand opposite in an otherwise largely empty stadium as they chanted, "Come on Liverpool, come on Liverpool," to beat away the boredom. Or perhaps that freezing December night in 1993 when only 11,342 other hardy souls joined me, stood in the away end of Selhurst Park to bear witness to the crazy gang of Wimbledon sending out the Reds of the League Cup in a penalty shootout. Or how about an 11th visit to the Palace, this time an early May visit when a certain Michael Owen sprang from the substitutes bench in a 2-1 defeat that ended the dreams once more of winning the Premier League when even St Michael couldn't rescue us. I wouldn't know. I was locked out of that one. So I watched the Reds' demise in a local pub and caught the train back home. Anyway, grab some perspective. Worse things happen at sea. And you could always join me and watch the cricket instead. Recollect, what a weirdo. Anyway, only mistake. Not bad for a Wednesday morning in the middle of what we're in the middle of, September heat wave, Indian summer that we're not allowed to say anymore. Anyway, here's my book for the very last time. I'm very proud of it. There's links below as to how you can purchase that book, as well as other ways and means to support me. And I leave you, as I always do, but this time in a Radiohead t-shirt, but in peace and in solidarity. And thanks for watching.